Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is Bo on Zoom?
There's an iPhone on there. I imagine it's Bo, but I don't know.
Bo, can you respond? Are you online?
Oh, he's muted.
Bo, are you online?
He said he is, but he's trying to figure out how to unmute himself.
Okay. We'll let the record show that all's present. We will be Zoom.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Gotcha.
Kind of a motion to approve the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda with the following amendment to move executive session after consent agenda and add under executive session legal issue.
Okay. As we move, we move the executive session from line 16 under approval of the agenda for real estate and a legal issue.
I think he wanted it right there.
Underneath the consent agenda.
Yeah, 7.5.
Okay, 7.5. Okay, underneath the consent agenda. Yes.
The real estate is on the agenda?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Demick. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Only affirmative at 7:04. May I suggest we go in executive session and we go down to the courtroom and do it? Then,
We can do number 6 first.
oh, excuse me. I'm trying to skip this. Communications from the citizens. Number 6, communications from the citizens. Going once, going twice. There doesn't appear to be any communication from the citizens. Consent agenda. Kind of a motion.
I move we approve
Through the
the consent
consent
agenda.
agenda.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Zant, second by Councilman Demick, that we approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Vote same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Can we have both call your phone, Chris, or my phone or something to be part of the executive session?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, problem. Not a guarantee.
Do you need a motion to,
Oh, I need a motion to go into executive session.
so I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss real estate and legal. However, I would like to abstain from the discussion on real estate and leave the courtroom.
Second.
Okay, the motion by Councilman Demick to go into executive session. He declared a conflict, and he's gonna, so he's gonna leave during the real estate discussion. Been seconded by Councilman Zant. Any further discussion?
So Mike, you're going to be discussing real estate in regular hearing?
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
All in favor, say aye.
I.
Aye.
Aye. Same. 7:06. Session.
Move we go back to regular session.
Moved by Councilman Zep. Go back
Second.
to regular session, second by Councilman Demick. Any discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Affirmative at 7:53. We have nothing less than public hearing. Ordinances. I'll let you take off with that, Chris.
So excited. Ordinance 2022-5-25-001. An ordinance amending code number 525 of the town Shoshoni Town Codes. The governing body of the town of Shoshoni hereby amends the Shoshoni Town Code 525. Its contents is deleted in its entirety and replaced as follows. Any person, firm, or corporation who violates section 514, 517, 519, 520, or section 521 shall upon conviction be fined a minimum of $25 on the first offense, $50 on the second, and each subsequent offense thereafter. Violation of section 516 shall upon conviction be fined a minimum of $25 on the first offense, $50 on the second offense, and any subsequent offenses shall be fined a minimum of $100 up to $750 as set forth by Shoshoni Town Code 1-5, Section 1. In all other respects, the governing body of the municipality of Shoshoni affirms Section 526 of the Shoshoni Municipal Code. For your reference, 516 is the dog at large. 514, 517 deals with tags, rabies, vaccinations, etc. 516 specifically was for dog at large, that issue that we talked about previously.
Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make
a motion.
Been moved by Councilman Weaver to approve ordinance 20-20 or 2022-5-25-001. First reading. Can I have a second?
Second.
Been second by Councilman Demick. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion passed, only affirmative. Ordinance B.
Ordinance 2022-11-4-001, an ordinance amending code number 11-4 of the Shoshoni Town Codes. The governing body of the town of Shoshoni hereby amends the Shoshoni Town Code 11-4. Its content is deleted in its entirety and replaced as follows. All invasive and noxious weeds growing within the town limits or limits of the town of Shoshoni are hereby declared to be a public nuisance, and it shall be the duty of every person owning, occupying, or in charge of any premises, lot, or parcel of land in the town of Shoshoni to keep that premises, parcel, or lot, including the adjacent rights of way, alleys, and streets free from all weeds by cutting or destroying them at all times during the growing season. Properties adjacent to a highway are responsible to the center of the street and the center of the alley adjacent to the property. It is the duty of every person owning, occupying, or in charge of any premises, lot, or parcel of land in the town of Shoshoni to cut, eradicate, or control any weeds to prevent their spread. No weed shall be permitted to grow higher than 6 inches. At a minimum, all property shall be mowed during the growing season as necessary to comply with the provisions of this section. The town of Shoshoni may order cutting of the weeds if necessary in accordance with ordinance 11-7 and 11-8 for compliance with this section, and such notice may be given in person, via telephone, or by letter. So this is in reference to who's liable for weeds on property on vacant lands. If there wasn't a tenant there, the town was having to take care of it. The owner wasn't being responsible. So this corrects that issue and lowers the height permitted to 6 inches instead of a foot.
Well, I'm gonna say, what was approved? 6 inches. Town's gonna have to keep on track of their own stuffs.
Yes, the town will.
6 inches after a rainstorm.
Yeah.
But a foot's like that.
Will that come back to get us?
So what's the penalty?
Well, this doesn't have a penalty. That'll be the next one.
Okay,
Um,
that's what I'd ask you, because I hear reading this, I'm saying, saying you're not supposed to do this, but there's no penalty. If you have a law, you should have cause and effect.
Correct. There's a penalty phase.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to approve?
So move ordinance 2022-11-4-001.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, been moved by Councilman Zett, second by Councilman Deming, that we approve ordinance 2022-11-4-001. Any further discussion?
The 6 inches.
That's what it used to be.
Can I ask the audience a question? Can we do that?
Sure, go ahead.
Buddy, can you give your professional opinion from days gone by about 6 inches on weeds versus 12 inches on weeds?
I mean, what are you looking for like an answer? I mean, do you think 6 inches?
So what I'm wondering, so you find some of these vacant properties.
So that's when they initially become in violation, that we would inform them, cite them, whatever, but it starts a process. So it's not instantaneous that they would fix it. And so right now at 12 inches, we give them a warning. 2 weeks later, now they're 18 inches. We say, okay, you're not, you need to get this cut. Then we give them a
Okay.
citation. A week later, now they're 24 inches.
So if you started at 6 inches.
That's a starting
So you're
point.
liable. That's what I mean. I think of the grass down, I mean, pick a park, it's 3 inches to start with, and then,
And that's 6 inches would become when it would start being.
and I guess realistically, it might, in reality, it might be 12 inches before they had a talking to anyway. But at least in the ordinance, you can say, well, we put it in.
Meant to try
You
and get-
started a little earlier.
It's, yeah, it's meant to try and stay on top of it by giving out warnings before they turn into bushes. Well, that answers your question. Ron.
What happens when I say my grasses that you call weeds are natural plants? And it's just, they're from nature. I never planted them,
Natural vegetation.
and I'm using them for soil control and wind control, for the wind doesn't blow my topsoil away.
As long as you're not smoking them.
Well, so they specify invasive and noxious.
And there's actually a definition to this of what that actually.
I mean, I would think that would be helpful. We say with these, I don't know what plants grow big, but say goat heads.
But they're not 6
But they
inches
don't
high.
grow, they don't grow big.
And so
Like,
you'd have to refer back to the definitions of what.
so someone,
constitutes-
what do we get? Do we grow milkweed? What's it?
Yeah, we have milkweed here.
So for someone to, so to your point, if someone argued, well, this milkweed is, say, well, by definition, it's a noxious weed, so.
So in our definitions, noxious weed is something declared by the county to be an issue. And so if it doesn't fall into that category, then yeah, we would.
So if it was sagebrush,
It's not
maybe that,
noxious weed.
right, so they'd be okay with sagebrush versus, I mean, no one's growing sagebrush in their front yards here.
So yeah, if it's not in our definitions, then it wouldn't fall into this. So like as sunflowers or something to that effect, that would not necessarily fall. into that.
Sheetgrass is a noxious weed by definition.
Depends on the inspector.
It doesn't.
Oh, no, sorry, I mean,
By
as,
definition.
as the person that's driving by say, oh, that's pretty grass over there, versus the next person, that's cheatgrass.
If you're a rancher, I mean, they're not noxious weed. It doesn't get more than maybe 12 inches at most.
Probably escaping the radar. I think the whole purpose though is to try and
Prevent, so it's taking action to be prevented, so I think the point is valid. When we start looking at them, they're 1.5 feet tall and now we're at 2 feet in a jungle and they can't do it, can't cut it. Okay, that's my discussion.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed. Motion passed all affirmative, first reading. C, ordinance 2022-11-1-1.1-001, fine and penalties.
An ordinance amending code number 11, or adding code number 11-1.1 of the Shoshone Town Codes. The governing body of the town of Shoshone hereby adds the Shoshone Town Codes 11-1.1. Any person, firm, or corporation who violates section 11-2, 11-4 shall upon conviction be fined a minimum of $50 on the first offense, $100 on the second offense, and a minimum of $100 up to $750 for any subsequent violations as provided in Shoshone Town Code, Chapter 1, Section 1-5. So currently, there wasn't a fine provision for the refuse, and the garbage is 11-2, 11-4 is the weeds. And this provides the penalty phase of that.
I move we adopt ordinance 2022-11-1.1-001.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Zant, second by Councilman Demick, that we approve ordinance 2022-11-1.1-001. Any further discussion? None being all. in
I have
favor?
a question.
Okay, yes.
Timeline. How long between the first notification and the second notification? I mean,
That,
so I go, Mike, I don't like Mike. Write your ticket today, go to him the next day. You haven't done your weeks, he gets 2 tickets back to back. First one's $50, second one's $100. My question is, what's the timeline between the spaces of enforcing this ordinance?
well, I mean, I guess there's not necessarily a timeline, but I would say that it's up to discretion of the individual, the officer. Now, granted, daily, that would be something the judge would look at, be like, why are you citing this person daily? Did you, that would be where that realm, I believe, would come into play, is with the judge asking, why do I have 2 tickets? You didn't even give this person time to get it corrected. There's also a second section that stipulates 14 days. That's not being amended in between the time that the mayor that becomes notified of the issue and solution to that issue is covered in that section.
Okay,
which is
so-
14
See,
days.
We don't
see,
have
that's
that.
what I thought was
Yeah, it's
14
not-
days.
Okay, so I don't have that
It's
on my
a
paper.
it's a different subsection.
Okay,
Okay,
so that answers my question.
right. Any other discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye on the first reading of ordinance 2022-11-1.1-001. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same. Motion passed, only affirmative. Ordinance 2022-13-3.1-001, operation of motorized travel on sidewalks.
An ordinance creating code number 13-3.1, the Shoshone Town Codes. The governing body of the town of Shoshone hereby creates and adds to the Shoshone Town Codes 13-3.1. It is unlawful for any person to operate any bicycle, skateboard, off-road vehicle, or any other motorized vehicle which is mechanically propelled by gas or electric or gas propulsion on any sidewalk in any area of the town of Shoshone. Any person violating this section shall be subject to a fine of $50 plus court costs as provided in the Shoshone Town Codes, Chapter 1, Section 1-5. So this is specifically on the town sidewalks and specific to mechanically propelled by gas or electric scooters, bicycles, things of that nature on the sidewalks. Well, we talked about that last week.
Can I have a motion to approve ordinance 2022-13-3.1-001?
So moved.
I have a question before you get that far.
No. Been
Second.
moved, it's been seconded, moved by Councilman Demick, seconded by Councilman Zent that we approve ordinance 22-13-3.1-001. Further discussion.
Does this include things like they call the hoverboard? Thing that the kids stand on with two little wheelies and lean forward.
That'd be skateboard, electric propulsion. When you think about it, you're on one of those things, you go up the curb. And they go pretty quick too.
So this really, so if it, as an example, so if this was towards, we'll say a battery operated thing, like a battery scooter or hoverboard. So if a child wanted to go to school on it, rather than using the sidewalk on Pine, they would just need to use the
Right of way,
right of way, the road.
as the sidewalks are meant for walking. By definition.
Who's gonna,
I know, but we don't have one. And nothing preventing people from driving anything they want on a sidewalk.
you have to split your cops and put one on Maple in the morning for the cars and then.
I'll give you an example. So here about a year ago, we had a family that was living here and they would take their little tiny moped with infants on it and be doing wheelies, jumping through traffic and going on the sidewalk. And there was zero we could do to enforce it, other than reckless to, child endangerment essentially. But that kind of went away. We talked to them, that went away, but then it came back up here recently. So that's what this addresses.
Is there any way to specify, like, on that, is there a category that you say between your battery size? It's 3 AAAs versus a lawn.
I mean, you could put something like, but how do you prove it? How do you know?
So I don't know if it's, like I said, I don't, when I look at this, I think about kids that are buzzing around on their motorcycles and their 4-wheelers with no helmets and.
And there's also kids with bicycles that are motorized electric and they're scooting downtown. That's some complaints of getting cutting off traffic, things like that nature. I think a little bit of common sense, if I see a 3-year-old kid driving a
50cc 4-wheeler.
that'd be one thing. I'd be talking to their parents, but what do they call those? The power wheels. Thank you. Driving a
Hey,
sidewalk. I'm not going to go yell at a 3-year-old kid for driving a power wheels on the sidewalk, obviously. So I think common sense goes with this. I think that the intent of it is to prevent teenagers and adults, for that matter, from using sidewalks for purposes other than their intended use. But also leaving someone riding a bicycle that's pedaling the bicycle, they can still do that currently. It doesn't preclude that from taking place.
Also, keep in mind, this is just first reading. We're not, that's all we're doing. We're moving on. It's just first reading. Getting it out to the public so the public can have input. Got 2 more readings. This would also specifically just sidewalks. Then it would not affect, would it affect our walking paths like we have going down the alley behind Maple Street or Rails and Trail or none of that? It would sidewalks only.
Correct.
Very specific for that.
So in essence, this is addressing a very specific problem.
Yes.
I think that's fair. I want to see you give that ticket to the big wheel rider though. Mommy, look what I got.
No.
What's court?
So it's been moved to second. If we're done with any further discussion, then being all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, full same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. No resolutions. Building permits, Tammy Hartke.
This is the renovation that Councilman Hartke brought up last meeting, but didn't get this in time. It's for a repair and a roof and windows.
Roof and windows. just replacing them.
I move we approve building permit for Tammy Hartke.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Zach, second by Councilman Demick, that we approve the building permit for Tammy Hartke. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same. Passed on the affirmative. Building permit Rocky Mountain applicators.
Business.
Or business permit, yeah. I say building permit. Okay, business permit Rocky Mountain applicators.
This is Rocky Mountain Applicators, roofing business. Be able to operate in Shoshone out of Riverton.
Is Phil Keller the owner?
Yes.
I move we approve building or the business license for Rocky Mountain Applicators.
Moved by Councilman Zent, we approve the building permit for Rocky Mountain applicators. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Demick. Any further discussion? Further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same. Motion in the affirmative. New business. Land zoning, Jake Stetler.
Oh, he skipped.
He
We're on
skipped.
12.
Oh, I did. Oh, excuse, 12. Appearances by citizens, public presentations. Reagan, House, please.
Good evening, Reagan Grothaus, Shoshone Postmaster. I was here a couple months ago, or it's probably been a little longer than that. Requesting some info, or not really information, but looking at the idea of trying to get some sidewalks and some bordering along the post office there. I snapped some pictures of what, thankfully, some of you guys come and approach me, and I appreciate you guys talking with me on this. And I came up with a couple ideas on. The first one is with that whole bordered area there, that put in that one you just had, that one, put up that one you just had, the front part right there, that whole section that is encased with the railroad ties. My suggestion would be to see if the city would remove all that and put asphalt all the way up to the sidewalk. And that is 68 feet long, 10 feet wide. And it goes all the way to where the drive-in entrance to customer parking is on the north side there. It would entail 20 foot of curb from the sidewalk that you see on the left, extended out to, there's a curb there after you see that the railroad ties there. There'd be 20 foot of that. And that's basically what I got there. So just eliminating that whole front part of that and putting in the asphalt, as you see on the north side of the Chris, could you go back to maybe the first one? Keep going.
That's
Oh.
the first one.
Okay, go the other way then. Yeah, it would just from the left side there extend all the way to the entrance to the parking lot. That would eliminate all the weeds and anything else that's growing there. It's got kind of a shell rock mixed in there, so it'd be more extensive to take all that out and plant it as opposed to taking just doing pavement all the way across there is in my opinion. And of course, it's on city boundaries. The actual boundary, the post office is right there, parallel with the window. So the sidewalk and that little framed area there is actually city border or city property
City easement.
easement,
Not city. City doesn't own it.
city easement.
Yeah, city easement, yeah, it's city easement.
So I'm asking if if the city would maybe possibly look at a grant, seeing what it costs to be able to do that. Again, post office is maintaining it, and will continue to maintain it. But in order to do the pavement stuff, they're not going to pay for that. That's all I got.
Question.
Yep.
You could probably utilize that for more parking.
Yeah. And
Where maybe easier access to the post office by people who want to park there.
you could do that. You could also do a handicap to where you go right up to the door. But we're not really limited on parking anyway, but
Right,
I mean, it would be handy, yes. I don't know if you would do a parallel or if you do a diagonal parking there like they have been. Like I said, it's only 10 foot from the street.
Very good. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Discussion about that at all? Or?
I went over, Reagan walked me through
Yep.
what his plan was, I guess for the record. Chris, if you want to go up one picture. That one right there. So when I was with him, what his hope to do, sorry, we go one more, that one would be better. He'd like to beautify the right-hand side of what's existing there. Nothing extensive, but the goal was to maintain some form of foliage, something that would still be appealing. I think the plan is good. I think the actual project, because the drainage over there is poor, would be more extensive of a project than just run the motor grader 68 feet and put asphalt in. But I don't know why it was designed that way back when, but I don't know if we run into issues with the egress into the post office with that either. But my feeling was if there was a grant and it was more substantial, you would continue to go down the road as far as curb on the other side, because it's broken. And
Right out to First Street.
in essence, yeah.
Okay, down to, look at the last picture. Clear down to telephone pole around the corner to First Street.
Like I said, if it became a real project, you would probably extend, you'd put a new sidewalk up there.
Yeah.
Repair I mean, like I said, it's just a project. I mean, if they came back with some form of a grant, I don't. Otherwise, it'd be your bare bone minimum would just be scrape it out, put down some roto mix, and there you go.
Then you have drainage problems into that driveway still.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a problem anyway.
Yeah.
And we currently have that issue, but
You know, it's ironic that we just read a weed ordinance says landowners is responsible for the easement. Is that true? Anything that reaches the street, it's landowner's responsibility.
The center of the street.
Yeah, so if we follow the same thought train, that's his responsibility, not the town's.
so I think, and that's where he said, so he's maintaining it,
Yes.
but the cost of it
that, I think that's where the ask is, could the town get a grant? Post office, no.
So, the other option is to make a general goodwill offer to all citizens of the town, say, you own from the edge of your property line to the street, forget about these, and let them do what they want to anyway. We don't have to worry about fences or anything else. That's the other extreme.
Yeah. We probably don't have it. Is there any grants that are even? I mean, it's a year, 2 years on a grant.
For that type of project, I'm sure there's probably some obscure grant out there for something to that effect, but not that I'm aware of.
So if it was
Without
like,
specifically looking to try and find one, I don't, but not that I'm aware of.
so if it was a capital project, I don't pick a number. If it was $50,000 capital project, it would have to come from our general budget.
1% or general fund.
Something that said, we're going to take this project on as a town and we're going to do this spot. No different than if we said we're going to pave the road in front of the library. Kind of the same.
I don't know. I mean, I know we have drainage issues for residential people right now. I mean, where's the fairness, I guess? What can we do that's not, that could meet halfway on getting that done? I don't know the answer to that, but that might be something that we, with the equipment we have and things that we could do at minimal cost to address some of those concerns.
So when I looked at it, pull the railroad ties and run the motor grader, that puts it to the same plane, but then you can now park on the shell dirt that's there.
Does better? I don't know.
And then I don't know either. I mean, they don't know, it's not gonna fix the drainage problem, but it's, said, are we time ahead? Does it look better? I said, take the railroad ties and make your own curb going up into it, but to me, I thought this is more one of those things that I guess the council just has to say, we're going to do a project or two projects and or budget money for some project.
From my perspective, I think if that was going to be done, that this would need to be a part of a larger project. That's just my.
So we could do, so if we got a grant for some
Say paving First Street.
And this would be something that we would
add in.
Roll into it.
correct.
You take the
As opposed-
680 square feet and just
You get that
piggyback.
section of First Street that's open.
Yeah.
And then you put that into that project, declare that as 1% or whatever, how, and do it over a series of incrementally do it. That would be something that you would put into that as opposed to just doing just this and then walking away.
We end up with just that. It'll be, town will be paying for it.
Well,
But there's a chance to roll it into something else.
then people will say, well, if you did it for him, why not for me?
Sure.
Yeah, they're gonna say that.
But, the only way to do it is, like you said, roll it into another project.
Just-
Paving First Street would be the ideal one.
I mean,
Or say we took a project that benefits 99% of the people of the town that use the post office, to all have a post office box. That would just be a
Mhm.
stand behind your vote situation.
but that could be something to be looked into as a larger scale type aspect. We just have to define what that would look like.
Left, right.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? None being. Now land zoning, Jake Stetler.
No,
It's my
mine.
My turn.
Oh. Oh, I'm still trying to jump down to Jake. Mike, you wanted to talk a little bit about economic development.
My name is Mike Dimick.
I wanted to read a proposal that was prepared by our realtor, or by the town realtor, Dave Parker. He drafted it, I signed it. It says, I, Mike Dimick of Hopper Meadows, would like to submit a proposal to purchase the six lots the town of Shoshone owns, including the shop, for the purchase price of $16,000. My intention is to clean off the lots and prepare to build 3 homes for new families coming to Shoshone to work. I intend to complete this project over the next 2 to 2.5 years. These homes will be 1,500 to 1,800 square feet, and one design is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and the other is 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I intend to be able to get these homes constructed and for sale for the approximate price of $250,000 each. I will personally guarantee that these homes will be completed with a legal binding contract to perform this construction between myself and the town of Shoshone. Any questions?
They have garages.
Yes.
Would you like to talk a little bit about economic development?
Sure. So what our intent is, as we've talked about what the town needs, we have the town needs homes and the town needs work. And so you can't have one without the other. So our perspective has been on doing the homes is a short-term economic development by providing jobs throughout some of the residents that are here, some of the people that already work for our companies. So providing jobs to construct these 3 homes. The goal is by creating homes, it creates the ball rolling, it creates some momentum that other people will say, great, there's housing. I can put my business here, or I can expand my business, or whatever it is that people want to do. But the business side of it, we've not seen the companies come to town to say, I want to be here and I'm going to start construction immediately. They say, I'd like to come here, but where's the workforce going to live? So our hope is that by economically developing the property to attract families for homes that are affordable, that they can get loans on whatever is required, that'll increase population and increase opportunity for workers. Our goal is to make the homes simple but moderate to meet standards, to where there again, our design is the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. The 2-bedroom, 2-bath would still have a garage with it. The 3-bedroom, 2-bath would also have one. The goal is to construct the first 2 homes this season. I'd like to get pads put down in the ground and get materials ordered. The section along the property where the town shop is, that structure would be removed. And based on what materials are available, we would construct one more home, or we would put in multifamily dwelling. That could be a duplex, it could be a 4-plex. There again, some of these things are to be determined. The initial plan, their design that we had was a duplex. And the reason for doing the duplex is it's accessible by using that street. I don't know what the name of that street is. Wyoming, by using Wyoming. So the garages could be on Wyoming Street. We had conversations with the realtor about doing duplexes over in this area, but it seemed more of a challenge to try and access through the alley. The lots are not very big as is. So by giving him some space, again, it creates the appeal for a family with children. They've got some room to grow. They can put their playpen outside if that's what they need to do. But I believe that it's a step in the right direction for the town. And I believe that if we build them, they will certainly sell. We've been in conversations with 2 different realtors to put together the design, the color, the floor layout, the price point, to further assure the success of the project.
How many of your employees currently live in Shoshone? Or let's go, how many do not? Either question, answer either one you prefer.
So we have 3 that are out of Shoshone.
And in Shoshoni currently, there will be five and a half. Works half-time. Our intent with this project, so we've talked to some other people that live in Shoshoni that would be interested in contributing to the project. The goal of the project is viewing it more as it sounds rough, but as a job. The goal is to get it built, get it done, move on to the next project. We've explored some avenues that are a possibility. Things like I approached the superintendent of the school. He and I have spoken throughout the years about incorporating the youth into said building programs, whether that was going through the state or just saying, who do you got that can come and work and help? There's two different options on that. But the goal was, if they can be a part of it, then it is something to help reach out and provide some opportunity for either the youth or for other people that have skills in that area to help with the project. There again, it's the economic development more within the community versus let's go grab a firm outside of the state and say, here you go, here's cheap ground. I need you guys to build these things for us and be done.
Duplex. Do you intend to manage the duplex yourself?
I would rather not. We've spoken with I don't know what the right word is, another developer, another investor in Shoshoni that currently does rentals that's much more interested in being a landlord than I am. And the discussion was, if we chose to go down that route, they would like to have involvement in some of the interior finish to accommodate the type of renting that they do. All that means is we would still put together our design, but if they said we want tile floor versus wood floor, we want a 2-car garage or whatever it is, but the level of interest is there. However, we're not dependent on said venture, but our goal would be to build to sell that to either somebody who wants to own it and live in both halves or whatever they want to do. But our goal would not be to be the landlord of it. I feel like our talent would be better suited to let this project be a pilot program to either further building throughout the community or give templates for other people who are going to say this can be done. And when I call it the North 40, when the Herbst property is available to be developed, hopefully it brings some hope that we can build homes for a more affordable price.
So if you were going to put a name on this property, would you call it workforce housing?
I guess it depends on who buys it.
Okay.
So I think the intent is definitely, I mean, that's the goal. That's the development side. As far as getting people here, would we say if somebody that lives in Shoshoni says, wow, you're building a home, I'd like to either move my rental or upgrade my home. If there was some condition that said, I'm sorry, you can't do that, then I guess we would cross that bridge. But if the goal was to enhance property and enhance the workforce, I mean, I feel like that's the overall goal that we've had with it, with whatever property is trying to be sold in this town, is to get people here and create more opportunity. And like I said at the beginning, the opportunity, you can't have one without the other, and someone's got to start first.
Any more questions, anybody? We have a question for the audience.
I guess my question.
Would you please speak up, young man?
Sure.
I guess my question would be, the first question I would have is,
And
would
can
you?
you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jordan Whitener.
Thank you.
I guess the first question I would have would be, would you have a licensed home builder, home contractor to do such? And then I guess the next question I would have for the town would be, looking at this as a whole, if we're gonna start getting homes built here and things like that, we probably need to become on board with other towns and have some sort of building inspector to make sure homes are being built to code. Because, no offense, Mike, but anybody could stick a home up and then 10 years later, it's fallen over, and then what? So just as a standpoint that we probably need to get to the point where there's some sort of codes that the town adopts or something to ensure nothing's being built that isn't suitable or long-term sustaining. I don't know what the right word is, but you know what I mean? I don't know. Food for thought. Take it for what you want.
You bet. Yeah, the town's addressing that.
So yes, things would be met within the parameters, except the council has. But yes, that would be, so it's not about making matchbox homes that quick
Well, no, I
sell.
didn't say, I guess,
Right.
wasn't sure if you had like a contractor in mind that the general that was gonna
Correct.
see the project. Obviously, I know you're not the, per se, the builder. So I
Yes.
was curious if you had that step already established.
Yes.
Any other questions? And thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate it. Now we have Jake Stetler.
For years.
Wait, do I already make any
Okay.
action on this Mike's presentation? Just heard him. Is there any motions out
Okay.
there or is there any discussion? Or just say, thank you, Mike, for the,
Lip service.
yeah.
Vision.
Yeah, so
Okay,
that's,
Duke. Okay, we've got a presentation. Would you like to make a motion to accept the proposal? That's what you're.
I'm not happy with, I don't feel I have all the information. It's just like last time we met with Dwayne Raymond. I feel like I need more information. You gave much more information than he did, by the way. I'd like to see more information on who would be living there, how you can, I want to make sure that this is tied in definitely with economic development. Instead of saying, that's the stronger thread I need, is economic development. And so my motion would be to table this at this time
And
and have Mike come back with, something ready from Bruce or, from his other people who would invest in it, something like that to give more information for us to go on.
can be moved by Councilman Zent that we table this till our next meeting. Is that
Yeah, that's fine.
to our next regular scheduled council meeting?
Whenever Mike's ready to present it. Go that way.
Okay, until Mike can present it so we can put it on the schedule. Okay. Been moved by Councilman Zent, second by Councilman Hartke, that we table this until Hopper Metals presents us with more information on its project. Any further discussion? Done being, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
I
Abstain.
Opposed, same. Motion affirmative 4-0. Note that Councilman Demick abstained from the vote. Now we are to Jake Stecker.
So I did receive a application from Jake Stetler for an amendment or adding of zoning of properties whose descriptions are set forth below, which would be the 3+ acres that was recently purchased at auction with no adjoining property owners other than the town of Shoshoni. Legal description is posted as well. And he requested it be zoned in its entirety as SR for agricultural, according to our Shoshoni Town zoning ordinances, which is also the current zoning for the majority of the land west of town at this time.
I just came in case there was any questions.
Can I,
And I guess I should add it's currently unzoned since we acquired it.
can I have a motion to approve the amendment to the zoning to the mentioned property above by Jake Stedler to SR, currently non-zone. SR is agriculture. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Harkey, second by Councilman Zent. Further discussion?
I have a question. Has this been published? And there's no, we didn't have to notify any because there's no adjacent landowners. There are no
Well,
notifications.
I believe there is. Don and Tim Thompson. To the direct east. That was my,
They're east, but adjacent though.
what is it? Adjacent, like adjoining? Yes, that'd be them. Because before we purchased it, Apex Survey did survey that, and we did find their corner markers. And so unless I'm all screwed up, our northeast corner is their northwest corner.
Does the town have an ordinance on allowing animals in town? Certain types?
If it's zoned agriculture, I believe you can.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that is.
And
I think. that-
I swear, I am doing all I can to keep them goats in. We have 159 acres and they don't like any of them. I think I'm gonna just drag them all into town and let them go, and then they'll all run out of town just to be difficult, and then it'd be fine.
They technically call it adjacent.
I must be allergic to blacktop because I never see them on the blacktop.
Yeah.
It's not a
They've been, the worst they've done is raid Dawn and Kim's garden,
It's not aggravated up.
ate their cabbage. Trees.
Did you notify Dennis and Tim Thompson?
Did I?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I didn't know I needed
So
to.
Yeah, I missed that part on here, so we'll have to be notified and. we'll have to-
And is that what I need to notify them?
Yeah.
Do I need to get them to send a letter? So,
You just have to have it notified and then a hearing date that they can show up and protest if they wish.
okay. Probably in about a month.
Please mail it to them.
Just do the next.
Oh, we're on amiable terms despite the cabbage thing.
I mean, but you can, if you just want to mail them a letter and then whatever the date is, that's sufficient for, I believe, what the.
Yeah,
what's
just so they have-
required. You just tell them on September, whatever, if they say we don't like it, they can come here and tell the
Okay.
council.
So do I need to be present for that? Because I cannot be here at your next meeting.
No, I don't believe it does.
So, all right, if
just
I,
a certified letter that, a copy of the letter you sent, and then just proof that it was sent certified. That's all I need.
okay, we will get that mailed out and I'll put the date on it for your next meeting. Is that all suitable?
Yes,
Okay, we'll get that handled and thank you for your concern.
Good luck with the goats.
Yeah.
We're getting it figured out. If you look, Rich, stop.
If you look out on the hill, we've actually got another pen where the old corrals are, and it's been holding successfully 5 goats since Saturday. So I'm very excited about that. And we had another 18 goats that we have successfully held for, I think, about 7 days now. So we're figuring it out. Now, what will work is 8-foot tall slicks, concrete walls, 2 feet thick. Will hold goats, I'm told. Thank you for your consideration. We'll get that sent out and provide notice that for the next meeting.
Thank you. Job description, maintenance, water, wastewater.
So I'd like to reassign two current positions we have and combining them into one being the maintenance and also the components of the water wastewater operator under one unified job description. And I would like to get that done in advance of filling the Department of Public Works position. So we have a clear set of job duties and responsibilities aside from water and wastewater. I would also like to have the pay scale for that set from 18 to 24. Currently, I believe it's 17 to 20. That way in the future, we don't run into an issue with pay if it so warrants it in the future.
That would give us more wiggle room on salaries if needed,
Yes.
without coming to council. Just flexibility.
And basically, I would maintain all the maintenance specifications and job descriptions and incorporate the water wastewater as it pertains to being a backup level operator holding a level 1 license for water and wastewater to serve in that role and capacity, and also assist with issues dealing with water wastewater as they arise, but not as a primary function.
So you just need approval to start doing this? So I'm saying we've already started and just saying this is what you're doing.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Well, I need.
First or second?
Well, I want to have it all done so it's done so you can have that and not have to know what I need to do to present what you would like that to look like as far as, and also the pay range.
Would the temporary also be under this or be a separate subsection?
So the temporary maintenance position would still be maintained as it already is.
Okay.
It would be included with this. This would specifically just getting rid of,
The marriage?
yeah, and yeah, marrying the two
Okay,
together.
that's the best part I could think of.
And be fairly specific on duties that are,
But the maintenance aspect would become the primary overriding duties, not being a doubling of water, wastewater, and clearly defining those so that they are defined in their descriptions. And then by moving the pay scale up when it's finalized, that way it allows for future growth, not capped out where it's currently set.
have a motion to looking for a motion to approve and to move forward on this. on the scale.
Yeah, scale mainly.
Yeah,
Scale is mainly what I was thinking.
right, because the motion that
So make the motion to modify your wastewater job position
and pay scale.
and pay scale.
Been moved by Councilman, then we can have a second.
Second.
And second by Councilman Weaver. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There's none opposed, all favored in the affirmative. Motion approved. Department head report clerk.
So just inform the council. So September 3rd was our closing date for the clerk treasurer position. We've received 2 applications thus far. And I think that it'd be prudent to figure out what we're going to do beyond that as far as interview and the process that we're going to undertake to select whoever. And what that'll look like now before waiting until after September 3rd to discover or decide what we're going to do, how that's going to work. Currently, I'm working on closing out 2 grants. I have 3 ongoing grants, 4 newly submitted grants, 2 more being worked on by Joan. And then also with Gore's working in conjunction with them to submit 3 additional grants. I got to be honest, I can't do anymore.
Not even for the post office?
Nope. I'm at that point. I cannot. And we need to get this done. I'll still help on the grants, but I need somebody else to help with the administration. I can't continue doing it by myself. And Joan is helpful, and she does help get them sorted out and helps me put them together. But what I need is someone that is able to help administer them. And that's where all the time and commitment comes to. And there's just so much one person can do.
And the day-to-day clerk work.
Well, yeah, that
I
and
mean,
all
just,
this other stuff.
yeah, all this other stuff.
Has Joan applied for the position? So is she just
She's
she's
a-
contract right now?
She's just a part-time emergency, whatever you want to call it, under the contract. I would say a contract employee, but she's just
She's hourly,
hourly,
part-time, temporary.
8 hours here and there, 4 hours here, there as needed to have to put it together.
What I would suggest as soon as we can, we only have 2 applicants. I don't think we need a committee. I think we're the council, the governing body is a committee. I think we interview and make a decision. What I would suggest.
And when I started this process, I knew that it was gonna go to this point, and then even after that, there's not someone who can just plug in there and like, I'm done, have fun. That's not realistic or gonna happen. So that expectation is there, but having that process started sooner rather than later is important. Before we run up to other time issues.
We need to get somebody in that Chris can train, because you're not born with the ability to just step in and just do that. Chris taught himself. You know, he got thrown really into the middle of it and taught himself. At least the person where we hire will have Chris there to help train him. But I think we should move forward on setting up interviews and get the process going. Any thoughts?
Well, I think it's, while they can shadow, it's much easier to be a shadow while you're here.
I ain't going anywhere. I'm not gonna.
But I mean, as far as
abandon it,
you're in that mode for someone, they will be trained the sooner they're here, the better they'll be trained.
Correct.
Because they need to get up to speed with what we currently got going on before we can take on additional. And I'll be able to help on the additional, but having someone there to get up to speed to maintain what we have now. My whole point was, is that I'm at a point that I can't take on more. I can't do it. Not fair to me, it's not fair to Kathy, and the stress that it involves, there's a breaking point.
So did you say that the posting has closed or closes on the 3rd?
It was advertised to close on September 3rd.
I like your idea. Why don't you like whoever these applicants are, say, come observe us for a day. And the clerks see what's going on. And let them come for a job shadow for a day or two.
They're not drinking any caffeine on that day.
Okay, so let them see what's going on. And then when they come into the 3rd or whatever it is, let's say this 6th for interviews, they could have questions to ask us as well as we asking them questions.
Certainly. I'm not opposed to that.
I don't think they would be that, they have a conflict for their job already, but it'd be an option for them to do.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure I could find some work for them to do, whether free labor.
Well, even to sit in the office, I think he's right, because you go to the interview process, what do you think about what you saw here versus, I can't wait to get here, this would be the funnest thing ever, and say, I had no idea.
I mean, one day would give them a quick snapshot of going over things. Obviously, there's so much that comes in on a daily basis that might occur this day, but it could give them somewhat of a overall perspective of what they'd be responsible for.
So Kathy, what's your most hectic day
Tuesday.
between now?
Tuesdays are usually work for me with court, because
Okay.
everything's.
Just might invite him and say, we're gonna do interviews in 2 weeks from now. We'd like to invite.
Sure.
At your leisure, if you want to come for 2 hours on a Tuesday, if you want to come 2 hours every day and sit by the desk, or I think it would be a proactive approach to the applicant to say, yeah, I've been here, saw this, and either A, hate it, sorry guys, I'm out, or B, quite like it. And
I'm not gonna add to that Mondays, because I'm catching up from the weekend.
Okay.
And Wednesdays, because it's the day after court.
But do you understand my question?
I do.
I
yes.
think that'd be a good idea. At least offer it.
Yeah. Okay,
they don't have to do it, we just say, we just want to let you know that we have this opening up for another 2 weeks, but we would like to expedite the process, and the interested parties should be interested. If they can, like if they can't, they can't, but. Because of the same token, you're gonna have input. I assume you'll have input on the higher E in the process. So whatever you can glean from them in that process, this person turns out they're really good at A, B, and C, and turns out they don't know how to read, but. I mean, just things that when it comes right down to it, it gives you a better opportunity to feel out what their strengths and weaknesses are. Same thing, recommendations on salary and.
I mean, this is gonna be a multifaceted process to do it right, because it's not fair to put someone in there and have absolutely no idea and trial by fire.
and that's why I want
I don't want.
invite them in.
And I'm not going anywhere, but having that person that slowly is coming online as I'm transitioning out, that allows us to not miss a beat, but also get better, because then once they're fully capable and then working together, then we can get back on track on doing it.
It might be good for you because you might find you don't want a 6-month shadow. Hey, Chris, what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now?
My goal is by December, they don't call me for anything.
Might want to see how they.
So we sort of have a plan forward. Do we want to set a our date for interviews and a date to make a decision on who we're gonna hire?
I think you could shoot for the 6th.
That's a Tuesday.
I mean, as far as that's next council meeting.
Going for
No,
Christmas.
That's an off week.
Oh,
Yeah, 13th is the next council meeting, but the 6th would be that's not a bad time 5th or 6th, to get them hired as early as possible.
Make it easier to take action on the council meeting then. So this would be a special meeting on the 6th.
Well,
Is it a
it
meeting
it
or-
would, it would need, if we hire someone, and I think we should, it's gotta be done in the public. It's gotta be, it'd have to be a special council meeting to.
So just do,
Because the governing body as a whole.
just do
makes the hire.
interviews on the 6th,
It's Labor Day. Yeah, the 5th is Labor Day.
Yeah, oh, okay.
but on the 6th,
Right.
or I guess any day that week. If you do interviews any day that week, just as an interview process versus a meeting. And then put it on the agenda on the 13th.
I don't personally think it's best practice to do an interview and immediately hire somebody.
Okay.
My personal perspective, I don't think that,
Oh, I
that's,
agree.
I think especially an unknown doing your best to
Some due
be
diligence
thorough in
and
your due diligence,
background.
exactly.
Well, do
It's
you
just-
want to wait to the 13th to hire?
I think at the earliest, the regular council meeting would probably be the best, yeah.
Okay,
Interviews on 6th and
Plan on having a recommendation, I
or
guess.
13th.
But if that doesn't commit us, and that's just, if they interview poorly, then that's no harm, no foul. If they interview great, then
Whatever the committee is gonna be for the interview.
I think the committee's the council. We only got two applicants. I think the committee's the council.
I think that's fine. I think Chris sits in on it.
Sure.
Or I guess, the board is here, then. If we need.
Well, as I say that, Marshall, am I making a mistake? We'd have a quorum if we had the council.
But we're not making.
But we're not
decisions.
making any
You're not making a
decisions.
decision.
Okay, just wanted to make
You're all
sure.
asking questions and no one's making.
I
a
wanted to
decision.
get that in there. So I'm afraid that question would come up.
So you need a motion on that or what?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think we got a plan.
As long as we all agree on a time and a date.
7 o'clock.
The only thing I have to say about that is, on schedule, we have our hearing on the 6th.
Yeah, I think in the afternoon or late afternoon or.
Continue 7 o'clock at night.
Well, it
Yeah, I just-
depends on who can make, you know what I mean, our,
Yeah, I just wanted to
people
point
that-
that out, that you can't do it in the morning.
right.
You want to do it 7 or is that earlier?
What time is good for you, Tammy?
On the 6th,
Yeah, 6.
6 o'clock I could do.
What about you, Mike? You don't know what you're doing that day yet.
9 p.m.
I can make it 9. I can make it 10. Morning, terrible time. If we want to aim for 6, I will aim for 6. Okay, that's fine. The applicant, no, I guess, it doesn't matter. I'd aim for 6.
Work for you, Bo?
Yeah, I think 6 will work.
Okay. 6 it is.
And we just all log in via Zoom.
Well, that one won't be
Chris can
online.
be here.
That's all I had.
Okay. Okay. Bo, do you have anything for the council you'd like to bring up?
The only thing I got is, looking back at being mayor pro tem, I think that position's better suited for someone that, really wants to run someday as a mayor. And I never have any intentions of doing that. So I'd like to step down from it and maybe someone else jump into that situation that might have those ambitions. I know myself, I'm never going to run for mayor. I have no intentions on it.
It's, no, it's a good point, but you really don't have to have any ambitions to run for mayor. It's just really set for someone to cover the mayoral job if I'm not available. That's the full intent of the mayor pro tem's job. But if you feel uncomfortable with that, we will we'll sort that out.
Okay, yeah, that would work. Myself, I think it'd be better off for someone else to do because if they do have the ambition to run from there, it does teach you a lot and how to run your meetings and everything. And it's just, like I said, it's not something that, I have interest in at this time.
Yep, very, very good. Anything else?
No, that's all I got for tonight.
Tammy,
I got nothing.
Mike, would you like to add
Are you
anything?
gonna talk about the sewer project? Is that in your report at all? On 7th Street?
I mean, yeah, when I get to it, yeah.
I mean,
got questions.
it's on your,
Yes,
it's on your stuff. Okay, I can wait till then.
Sure.
I'd like to thank Mike for his willingness to come up with economic development and some ideas. I just need more information before I can say yes.
yeah. Anything else?
That's all.
Just want to touch on a couple things. We're still waiting on some information before we can let the sewer project for bid. We're waiting for some engineering. So it's not ready at this time to come up for bid.
Are they behind on their schedule?
They are, but they're waiting for information for the engineers from the mushroom farm to provide more information so they can design the tie-ins and everything else like that. Till that is all done. And there's been several hiccups involved with that that's really out of everybody's control. There's been some issues that's really out of everybody's control, and they just got to roll with it and do what they're doing. But they're working towards that. So
It seems part of the reason that we hired them is in the selection process was a rapid pace.
So we're not
But
waiting
this-
on our engineer at all. They're done with what they need to do, but they can't finish.
they need more information before they can finish the job.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, they're not holding it up.
Yeah, our engineer's not holding it up.
gotcha.
It's, they need more information before they can move forward. They've been waiting quite a while. This, like I said, there's things definitely out of their control.
Gotcha.
So that's, they're not to blame for this at all. Inbert Miller. Engineers working for us is not at fault. So. That's where we are with that. One other thing, we've been working on Rock Park.
Oh, hey, Joel.
Yes, please.
Sorry about that. On the sewer, how does that hold that up? I'm kind of confused. Can't the mushroom farm tie in wherever they want?
They need information on elevations and other things, Bo. That's what our engineer is telling us. They have some design issues anyway there. Yeah, that's what they've passed on to me.
Okay.
Part of this doesn't make sense to me. If we're just taking the line up to the property of the mushroom farm, that's all we have to do. I mean, it's their responsibility to tie into everything else, isn't it? On their property.
Yeah, we're not putting on their property.
So where's the problem with,
I'm not an engineer, Bob.
okay, I'm saying, that, you know.
I'm
we
not,
do
I'm
our
not,
stuff.
I will get try to get the engineer and get a written report. I'm not an engineer. That's what I am told. And then like I said,
It brings up a valid point as far as there again, or initially we talked, I think the discussion was have bids out in October for doing said project. And if all of a sudden, if we're held up, the mushroom farm wasn't, we're trying to develop our property over here.
We're
Mushroom,
waiting for them.
if we're waiting on them, like, yeah, it's, if it takes them 6 months to come up with a decision or a year to come up with a decision.
they have had some key personnel have health issues is part of it. I really didn't want to. They've had some key personnel with health issues that's delayed some of their decision work, some from their side. That has, I think, went to part of this. So they had that's part of it. That's part of the story. So. But anyway, I'll try to get more information from the engineer, get a report from him and get out on that. But that's what's been passed. But I mean, there's multiple issues that's really out of our control. Anything else on the West Side Sewer project? I'd like to, sort of also touch bases that talk to the surveyors. I'm supposed to by Friday of this, by the end of this week, have all the surveying, everything done on Rock Park. I should have it Thursday. That should be done where we can be able to move forward on that. Been working with the Fremont County Rec Board at potentially we've talked about it, turning that into a trailhead. There is some 90-10 grant money available for that. If we was to move forward on something like that, there's 2 years before that money would need to be spent or not be spent on the development of that. Putting in a bathroom, parking area, another similar to what's already there, covered, picnic area. That's what would be involved with the initial phase of that. And that's a 90-10 grant. So if I get any more information on that, I'll pass that on. The numbers look like, if I'm gonna, it depends if you did a simple, left everything gravel, don't widen the road or anything, but put the bathroom and make it a pretty nice, grassy area and stuff like that down there. About $260,000, something like that. If you decide to, the person was to put asphalt road down there and say cover the existing basketball court and tennis court and turn that into a parking area, that would put the cost of that parking area, reduce it a lot by utilizing what there's already there and sort of get rid of an eyesore. That could drive the cost up to, I don't know, 400,000 or more. But it's a 90-10 grant to do something like that. It's but just to help develop that as a trailhead, as we talked about down there. That would leave the rest of the park for future development, whether it went into, as talked about, bike paths or, the motocross bikes, or whatever, that would leave that open for that type of development. But just be that area near where the basketball court and stuff is now. I just wanted to bring that. Any thoughts on that? If you don't like it, let me know before I spend much more time on it.
How far out is this, a 6 month out, year out?
Well, actually, the process, the money processes come on, there's a pre-application. It's got to be filed by it would be filed by the 30th of this month.
In your list?
And then you're into November. Joni's putting that together. I think is it November 1st? I believe they would go through the application. This is just a pre-application. And then I think it's November 1st, go through the formal application then. Huh?
That was December 1st.
Could be just November 30th, December 1st. Within 90 days, if you're approved, the town would receive the funding. The town has 2 years to spend it, or you can always turn it back in and don't spend it, but you'd have 2 years before that you have to spend it to do the improvements as proposed. But it's what's attractive, it's a 90-10.
Specifically, it's the outdoor recreation through state parks,
Yes.
which was boosted up with a lot of money from the state for economic or tourists and things like that. For outdoor activities.
And trails and trailheads is one of the things that they've pointed out that they'd like to see. Shooting ranges is another one that's high on their list. Or on their list of what they put there, not saying high, that's just, they have a list of things. Water parks is another thing. I mean, there's outdoor recreation, it's for outdoor recreation.
I would say it would be worth pursuing, especially in that 2 year time frame, as the needs of our town
Sure.
come to fruition. It might be in that process that while it can serve as a trailhead, there might be something added to where the community, if they want it. I don't know what that would be,
Sure.
but something that they say it's available if you guys want to go and use it, that would fit into that grant. And
I had an interesting conversation with John Larson, he's a councilman Lander. And he talked about being grant poor. Where he's a town of Landers in grants. And all of a sudden, because all take 90-10 or 80-20, whatever. He said, town's getting all these grants and all this money, and all of a sudden, we don't have any money. How will this 10% affect our budget?
Well, the way that I've been doing our budgets the last 3 years is I incorporate that in yearly budget, so it's carrying on year to year to year. So it's paid for that year, whatever match we have is already accounted for in our current budget. So it's not something that affects us.
And that's.
I get what you're saying. When you start indebting yourself over a 3 or 4 year period where you're stacking debts.
Right.
So everything that I've ever done as far as budgetary wise has always had a pay for of some site for that budget year. Yeah, specifically.
Chris and I have had a conversation exactly that. It's maybe like you don't want to get a free horse.
One elephant.
Anyway, but yeah, we can we afford the 90-10? That was part of our conversation.
And that's
Yeah,
why I brought it
and
up.
a good question, but that's
And I gave him three options of how we could do it. That probably the next clerk would have to decide that, but there's three options to do it if that's
Right.
the route we would take.
Well, we've also talked about later on applying for a grant for lights for the school.
That's already.
Where's this? That's already done?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about for the water buffalo?
That is. It's in the hopper.
But you see, you know, so you said you were going to do all these grants, but you never told us which ones.
Yes. So the biggest ones that came up, the new ones were the water. Ones we just recently did, as well as went through economic development for, sorry, recreation, Fremont County Recreation. That was the bid. And we had three more that'll be coming up, going through for the same water project, with seeking additional funding through WWDC. So those ones will be coming up here in the next week. Those will be submitted. And each one of those entails a different, my point of that was the administration side. So just because we have one project, there's three grant streams that are funding that. That's three separate administration that you have to do on one grant. It's not. And then you times that by three, A, B, and C. So that's now 6 different processes of administration that you're gonna have to do on 3 projects. That's where I said it's in the hopper. Other ones that we're closing out are our economic development stuff that we did here last 2 years or last year and a half. The grants we got for that for the feasibility study. Yeah. So the sewer project, that one's coming online as far as administration too. That one. So my point is that best plans to apply for something, but then emergency or some other thing comes up that is more important. And this one that was coming up next gets kicked out. Doesn't go away. But as I was alluding to, there's only so much. And also funding. Something is more important that has to be done first. We have to, I feel that we have to have paid for that year and not kick the can down the road and hamstring ourselves to not having, especially with our population decline and our commensurate cut in revenue. So it's more prudent to space them out as best we can and give a what's more important. And I think that has to be factored.
I don't have anything else.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Any audience questions?
I have one
Okay, please.
comment. So if anybody wants to watch, be pre-warned that September 6th is our hearing with the board for taxes regarding your clinic. So
Ooh. Is it like watching C-SPAN?
probably less exciting.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be a must-watch event.
I'll have to do that to you.
Yes, Jordan,
I have a question on your 9-10 grant for the parks.
please come up.
Name's Jordan Whitener. Have a question on the 90-10 grant for the parks. Is that grant going to be, I think we're kind of getting the horse ahead of the cart. There's a park over here that we just put in that's not finished. So I don't understand why we would build another park when there's not even a suitable bathroom there. And there's Porta John's has a bathroom. I don't know, just food for thought again. Think probably ought to finish getting that tidied up before we advance. But I hope the council will consider finishing what they've started rather than move on to the next park.
We already have, Mr. Whitener, we already have in the process of putting a bathroom in next year. That's already in the works.
Isn't this grant seems more specific to trail rails?
No,
Yes,
it's
it
not.
is.
No, it is not. I've searched up the grant myself, and the grant is through the state parks In fact, Gillette just used a big chunk of this money and built a turf complex. They put in 2 turf football fields and four turf baseball diamonds at a 90-10 deal. 10 Sleep has used some of the money to maintain their splash pad. There's been it's been used for other things in trailheads. So, yeah.
Trailheads is one of the specific items they call out for this grant. And we've worked with not only, we've had the Fremont County Recreation Department come to us with this. It's also approved by the Wind River Visitors Council, trying to promote to help bring people into Fremont County.
I'm not saying it's
I'm
I'm not
saying
saying
this
it's a
is
bad idea. I'm just saying I'd like to see us finish one thing before we start another. That's all I'm saying. There's no need to get into tit for tat. I'm just saying
Sure.
I'd like to see us finish one thing before another.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Any other comments?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Been moved that we adjourn. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Been second, moved by Councilman Demick, second by Councilwoman Hartke, that we adjourn. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. What I'm saying. Motion passed.